All right. We can hear you now, Dr. Paul.
All right.
All right. So, all right, back in school, right? Are we, have classes begun yet?
Absolutely, Gerard. We began classes on Monday. A little bit of a warm walk for some folks, but we're off and running. And, of course, the campus was hopping for 2 or 3 weeks before. There's nothing like the fall. The football team comes back.
Yeah.
The Pride Marching Band comes back. Sorority recruitment's going on. Resident assistants are moving in. So, one of the beauties of this work is you've got these marvelous, exciting beginnings and then these frequent endings in terms of commencement. So It's a great time of year to be in higher ed.
Yeah. So I was talking earlier today, Dr. Paul, about some reports I've seen that indicate there's housing shortages across this country's colleges and universities because the price of off-campus housing, apartments that lots of students would live in, is up quite a bit, and that's due to various economic factors. And so there's excess demand for on-campus housing, and that's causing some issues. How's that affecting you guys?
Well, it has affected us this fall. We've been able to manage it. But so we've got a 5% increase in freshmen and a 5% increase in new transfer students, mostly community college students. So every residence hall bed on our campus is full. We've got 77 people in temporary housing that we're working with. So it is interesting because at the same time, there's a national decline in the number of high school graduates. And in fact, it hits a cliff, as they call it, in 2025. And that's true in Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama as well. So,
wow. So that's your pipeline. I mean, that would seem to make the competition for prospective students even that more intense, right?
Oh, it absolutely does. And we're determined to grow here. We've got capacity to grow. And so for us, it's all about, in terms of student recruitment strategy, processes, making it easy for students, investment, and then effort. And so I spent a lot of time last year, even when I was interim, Gerard, before being named permanently in November 1, I visited 16 high schools and 12 community colleges. And, there's just a great story here, and I want to get out there and tell it.
Yeah. So what kind of feedback and reception do you get, Dr. Paul, in your travels? And I know that's one of the primary functions of your function there as the president of the university is to promote, serve as an ambassador, get out and about across the state and beyond, especially in the high school environment. What do you hear?
Well, we were tremendously well received. It was really a lot of fun. And, the unique story for us to tell is that, here we are, a Carnegie Research One extensive university that's a little bit different than all the others in terms of smaller class sizes, a lot of personal attention for our students. And then we talk about our unique culture. Southern Miss has always been a place where we sort of punch above our weight. We call it Southern Miss grit, Gerard. At Southern Miss, our students, our faculty, our staff, our alums set these audacious goals, and then we pursue them with uncommon passion and just a relentless persistence. And it's really become a part of who we are. And that story resonates with people. They want to come and be a part of that.
Yeah, and you've got some very unique programs as well at the university. You and I discussed those last time we did a remote down there in Hattiesburg. Tell us about that.
Well, there's so many, but I'll highlight some of the real top drawer aspects. Most people know that we've got one of the top 5 polymer science and engineering programs in the nation, and was one of the first. Yeah. Way back in the day, Dr. Shelby Timms came back home with a PhD in chemistry from Tennessee and started using tung oil that was abundant in Mississippi to form coatings and plastics. And now, 50 years later, we've got one of the foremost programs in the country. And those graduates have such options in terms of making a really, really good living and have an extraordinary life. One of the programs that's really taken off, Gerard, now is along our Mississippi Gulf Coast. We've got one of very few ocean science engineering degrees at both the undergraduate and the graduate level. And this blue economy that folks are talking about is not something that's way out there in the future. It's out there right now.
Yeah.
And with our research across the Gulf Coast, we've got research entities in marine science and hydrographic science at Stennis. We're very active in the Port of Gulfport and ocean science engineering. You move over into Jackson County, you're talking about marine science and fisheries and those sorts of things. And it's predicted that blue economy globally will grow by like $3 trillion over the next 10 years.
Wow.
And we've already placed 2 corporations in the Port of Gulfport that came directly to work with our scientists in the area of unmanned or uncrewed surface and subsurface vessels, deep-water vessels as well.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that's the one in particular I was referring to that I wasn't even aware of until you discussed it with us. I got to believe, Dr. Paul, you're getting folks interested in this from across not only the country but the world.
Yeah, it's really true. So the hydrographic science program, which is basically does very sophisticated ocean mapping and those sorts of things. Literally, students are coming from all over the world, paid for often by their military, their navies, or their government to receive that degree. That's absolutely right.
What's total enrollment this year, Dr. Paul?
Well, we won't know total enrollment for a while. It takes a while for that to shake out.
Yeah.
But as I said earlier, the really encouraging thing is that we are up by 5% in new freshmen and new sophomores. That's how you build it. Graduate school looks good. Gulf Park looks good. So we're optimistic about that. And, it's also football season.
Yeah.
Gerard.
Yeah. How you feel about that?
Oh, I feel great about it. This young coach of ours, Will Hall, his dad's the legendary Bobby Hall,
right?
High school legend. Is such a dynamic, energetic, positive coach. I call him Mississippi's Ted Lasso, but he knows his stuff, and this is his 3rd year. So if you think about it now, he's kind of got things in place.
Yeah.
So he's got more depth. He's got more folks in the. It's remarkable. Last year he won 7 games without a healthy quarterback.
Yeah.
And so we will welcome Alcorn State a week from Saturday.
Okay.
That's always a lot of fun. They have great fans, great camaraderie. Get to see the Alcorn Band and the Pride of Mississippi, and then we'll go on from there. Our next home game is with Tulane, which is preseason ranked in the top 20.
Sure are.
Who finished in the top 10 last year and who we beat last year. So
yeah.
It's an exciting time for that.
Well, what about your instructional staff, Dr. Paul? You looking good there?
I could not be more proud of the faculty at Southern Miss. People ask me when I came back last year, what's the biggest surprise, the biggest positive? We had a great faculty when I worked here before, but they're even better. And what I mean is that our faculty do some things that are pretty unique. Yeah. One is it's our faculty that creates that Research 1 status.
Yeah.
Without a med school, without agriculture, our faculty brought in between $120 and $100 million a year over the last few years.
That's awesome.
That's remarkable.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that's unusual. They're not just research faculty. They care about teaching and learning. We've got
good to hear.
A lot of opportunities for faculty to do development on the campus to improve their teaching, but it's strictly voluntary.
That's awesome.
And
Dr. Paul,
30% of our faculty.
We got to go. I appreciate it, man. It sounds like things are great. We appreciate your leadership at the University of Southern Mississippi. We'll talk soon, sir. Thanks.
Okay, Gerard. Thank you.
Yes, sir. We're coming right back in the Element Wealth studio.